Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the overview. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's just so distinguished.
It's only a matter of time. I just want to make three really clear points on this, I think, particularly to the House, to the Minister, to the Government. I've made very clear my views on this. I'm really grateful for all the support we've had from across the House, because I think this is an issue of singular importance. However, I think it's very important that we don't dictate tactically what we ask our professionals to do in this country. What I mean by that is that our job here is to hold the government's feet to the fire and to ensure that what they say with one hand is matched by the other. I don't think it is our responsibility to say you can never change this capability or you can never change that capability. My attempts with the letter that has been signed by so many are simply a first stage in drawing a line in that battle. What I am saying, though, is that I do hope the Government and the Department, but critically the Treasury and the Prime Minister now understand that there is a resilient cohort of government MPs who will hold the government to account on defence spending. It is not right, whether party or whatever your priorities are. Above all, we are patriots, and it is not right to allow the government to say one thing with one hand and yet under-resource it with another. We cannot always say that defence is the primary duty of government and yet hold their hands behind their back. In fact, it's interesting, an intervention from, in fact, I'm just going to ignore that because it's pretty childish. There is, look, we have to get our priorities right in this regard when it comes to defence. Over the weekend, we saw announcements from the government, 2.3 billion into artificial intelligence and driverless cars. Fantastic, great stuff. However, when it comes to defence, I'm afraid, we cut our cloth. When it comes to social policies like that, we cut our cloth according to what we can afford. When it comes to defence, then we listen to the professionals that we ask to go and do the job for us, to wear the uniform. We ask them what we need, and we provide them with what they need to keep us safe. And as has been alluded to from my right honourable friend, time and again from the New Forest, the idea that you can come to this place or sell to the general public that threats have intensified and diversified and increased so much that you need to conduct another security review and yet reduce the budget or the capability for our armed forces to do that is simply not credible and will not be worn by the British public, and it will not be worn by the backbench Conservative MPs. Finally, all I'm asking for, and all the MPs who've signed my letter and all the MPs across the Conservative Party are asking for, we are the party of defence, we are asking to meet our manifesto commitment of a 2% spend of GDP and a 0.5% above inflation increase in the defence budget. That is what I stood on a defence in a moment. That is what I stood on in the last general election, and I fully expect that to be realised. We have to get to a stage where we are being realistic about defence, and if the threats have increased, that must be met by a commensurate increase in money, commitment and willpower from both number 11 and number 10 as well. I will give way.
Honourable member and fellow member of the Defence Committee for giving way. But if I could slightly correct him, he said the Tories are the party of defence. They're the party that talks about defence. And I fully accept the bona fides and the genuine intentions of him and many of his backbenchers. But in fact, under Options for Change, after the end of the Cold War, it was the Tory party that slashed...
In the context of UK Johnny Mercer.
Yeah, I take the point. All I would say to that is that whilst I am here, I am determined that we will see that through. The government has a very small majority, and we will hold them to account on this issue. Because on this issue, I'm afraid the feelings are running high. We have to go back to our constituents and justify what we do in this place every weekend. And I'm determined that we will come through, see them through, and provide the country with the defences we need.